All right, good evening and welcome to the Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for today. If you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this is the Board of Adjustment meeting for Tuesday, July 7th. Time is 7:06 p.m. A few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in the door if you've not already done so. There you'll find a detailed handout, a step-by-step procedure how we'll follow tonight. If you wish to take one, please feel free to do so. Please put in electronic devices in a silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the Board of Adjustments with its duties. The task of the Board of Adjustments is to consider requests for variances and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with state law and county ordinance. Each request will be considered on its own merit. The burden of proving a practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it's granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we'll hear a staff report, we'll hear testimony from the applicants, and then the board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the request. I'll ask each party to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I'll close the public hearing portion of that process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of our finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We'll have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After the final vote is on your request, you're free to exit and leave the meeting for the evening. Our first Board of Adjustment agenda item is Chad and Amy Kronbach, 34102 Nature Road, Foley, Minnesota 56329. Application for a variance to separate a parcel that cannot support a type 1 septic located in part of the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter, section 34, township 39, range 29, Morrill Township. If you'll come up here to the front table on either side, pull one of the microphones close, state your name and address for the record so you know who's representing tonight, and we'll proceed from there.
Amy Kronbach, 34102 Nature Road, Foley, Minnesota.
Right.
Vincent Kokless, 34102 Nature Road, Foley, Minnesota.
All right, thank you, Amy and Vincent. And Amy, do we have a staff report?
I do, Mr. Chair. Again, this variance request is create and develop a parcel that cannot support a type 1 septic system. The ordinance sections that apply is 1301.12 and 1501.4. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue, and then some oblique imagery as well. Here's a site drawing provided by the applicant. And here's a site photo taken at the viewing. This is a 30-acre parcel that is zoned for both residential and agriculture. There is a dwelling on the parcel. The applicant would like to split approximately 2.5 acres on the southwest side of the parcel and develop the lot as a residence. In preparation for that, septic soil borings were completed. It was found that there is only a 9-inch separation to the water table, which requires a type 3 mound septic system. A type 1 septic system is one designed in accordance with Minnesota Rules 7080, 2200 to 2240. These systems use on-site soils for septic treatment and are considered standard systems. Drain fields must have at least 3 feet of adequate soil to treat septic effluent. Type 1 systems include trenches, seepage beds, and at-grade systems. Mound systems can be a type 1 if at least 12 inches of soil are used for septic treatment. The septic designer has determined that adequate soil separation does not exist on the property to install the type 1 system. For a type 1 mound, at least 12 inches of separation would need to be between the soil and the seasonally high water table. Those 12 inches of soil contribute to the 3 feet of soil treatment needed for septic effluent. And 4 inches were found on site. Actually, what do I say there? Did I give you 2 different things? Yeah. I'll have to look on the staff report there. The applicant has provided a statement from their contractor regarding the site's suitability for a modular home. Since this area of the parcel is zoned residential, the dwelling density limits do not apply. The surrounding area is crop field, wetland, and residences. And then here are your criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Amy. Just for the record, yesterday, Greg, Clint, myself, George visited the site. Marvin?
I did not make it to this site. I made it 3 others, but I couldn't make it.
Okay. All right, so most of us have been out there, and I think somebody showed us around yesterday afternoon, so we're familiar with it. Is the staff report presented accurate, and is there anything that you would like to add at this time for our information?
Not at this time. I think it's accurate.
All right, thank you. Board members, questions, comments, concerns?
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
don't have no questions, just observation from yesterday's site visit. We've been out on this road within a mile of there multiple times for these type 3 systems. When I compare this one to the other ones, which I know this is on its own merit, it's very similar. I just wanted to note that it was just recently tilled. If it was really, really bad, you wouldn't be able to till it. Then also I'd like to just note that, it's residential and there's ag all around it. And I think it's the, ag, we want to keep ag. Here's a great place to put a house, a dwelling. When we look at it with the slopes, where it's staked out for the sewer system, for the type 3, it's in a good spot. There's multiple locations on this property where you could put another one if it fails. So I think this is a good site for it. It just can't make it because of the soil borings, but it's far enough away from the wetlands and things like that. That's what I look for. The tillage of the soil tells me a lot about it's a decent site to build one. It just can't sustain a type 3. My only question is, I know we talked a little bit yesterday about the road approach. Is there any clarification on that by either one of you two? If anything's been done in concrete with that, or?
You know what? My husband couldn't be here, so that would be
Yeah.
for him. But yeah,
I know yesterday he said that he's contacted him, but it hasn't
right.
been determined 100% where it's going to be.
Exactly.
So, okay. That was kind of my main question and just observation from yesterday. And then also, Amy, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but you talked 9 inches and then 4 inches. If we could, I don't know if you have that somewhere where you can clarify that, but other than that, Mr. Chair, I don't have anything. When Amy, if she can find it, she can answer that, but.
All right, thanks, Clint. Other board members, questions, comments, concerns?
Mr. Chair,
Marvin?
as I agree with Clint out in that area, I think pretty much everywhere around there is type 3 systems. You said we've seen it over and over, and what I'm seeing in the maps and stuff, this is a good area. It makes sense. You're not losing a whole lot of ag property. And if I read this correctly, 12 inches is needed. You got 9, so you're almost there, in which we've even seen worse. So with the proper system, type 3, this will function perfectly fine. So I don't see a big problem with it.
Thanks, Marvin. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the board? If not, I'll move.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
the separation is 9.
Okay,
9
thank
inch-
you. I
9 inch
just
separation.
wanted it for clarification for the record, so.
Having no other questions now from the board, I'll move to anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request. I'll open this up to the public comment. I'll ask 3 times for any public comment. Any public comment once? Any public comment twice? Any public comment? Third and final time. No public comment. If I can have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Motion by George,
I'll second that.
second by Greg. All in favor, starting with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
Myself is aye. George.
Aye.
Public portion of the meeting is now closed. Back to the board. Any other comments or concerns from the board? I'll fill the gap here with just one comment of my own. This is a proposal, and some of the proposals in this area have been for a modular type home with no basement. And it's my understanding, reading through this, that that is your intentions on this land. And with only there being 9 inches of, basic topsoil in there before you hit the water table, it really doesn't support a structural home with a foundation, or you'd be underwater,
It'll be a double wide is the plan.
Okay. And so that's my comment on this, and if anyone else from the board has any other questions, feel free to ask. You want to make that?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd just make just a condition that there'd be just a single story, no basement, home on this.
All right, so no basement,
I shouldn't say single story, I should just say basement,
no basement.
yes,
Okay,
At grade.
at grade, yep.
So that, the basement's not my plan, but if that was ever something to happen in the future, whatever happens, is that something that can be done, or
Mr.
I wouldn't
Chair.
do it.
it's just, okay, I'm just kinda curious then.
Amy, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, since this would be a condition, you
Yeah.
need to come back to a hearing to
Okay.
remove the condition.
Mr. Chair, can I mention?
Greg.
Like a 2-story would go up as long as you didn't go down.
Yeah, okay,
Because of the high water table, would make more sense to go
makes sense, yeah.
up rather than down. So that's my comment.
All right, any other questions from the board? If not, we'll move forward to the finding of fact criteria questions. First question. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Marvin, will you take that one?
I believe it is. Type 3 systems are allowed if they're in these areas. With that being said, they have 9 inches of separation, 12 is needed. But if this done in type 3, it it meets all the county ordinances that way.
All right, thank you, Marvin. Anyone else from the board?
Just like to add to this, when you look at the ordinance, there's a lot of ag land around, and again, I commented on that earlier. We like to have these limited on ag land homes here in residential. It's a great place to put a home. Can't make the type 1. It can do a type 3. When we look at the site, it kind of shows that it can handle it, okay? There's a lot of room. So I just wanted to put that in there that, this is zone residential. There's ag all around it. It's a good spot to have a home rather than out in a big egg field, so.
All right, thank you.
That's kind of how the ordinance states too, so.
All right, thanks, Clint. Question number 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? I'll take that. As Clint had mentioned, this is zoned ag and residential both, so it can support either one. They're proposing to use a modular home built on above ground without a basement, and it's been conditioned no basement here. With the topsoil being limited to being just above 9 inches from the water, I think that's reasonable. Something else might not be reasonable in that location, so parsing this out, I think I'm okay with that. Anyone else from the board? If not, I'll move on to question number 3. Question number 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George, will you take that?
Yes, I believe so. Type 3 septic system here is very common in that area, as we have been out there many times with an at-grade modular home, no basement. If you look at, there's the neighboring areas consists of farms, farm homes, and residential homes. It's right on the outskirts of Ramey, so this will not affect the essential character of this location.
All right, thank you, George. Anyone else from the board? Hearing none, I'll move to question 4. Is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yeah, to this property and probably some of the surrounding properties, but this particular one, it's a suitable building site when we look at the geographic, the way the land lays, the soil that's there. We had a contractor that determined that also and agreed with that. But it can't sustain type 1 septic system. Here we have one that you could put multiple 3s, sewer system type 3. There's multiple places to put it. So I'd say the practical difficulty is we got a decent spot for a slab on grade home, but it can't sustain, can't meet the soil boring. So that's how I would say, when we tie in with how I answered question 1 also, that, it's zone residential. That don't mean it's just automatically gets a home, but I think it'll fit in there without utilizing a bunch of ag land. That all ties into the practical difficulty, I believe. So I would say yes to question 4.
All right, thank you, Clint. Anyone else from the board? Hearing none, I'll move on to question 5. Is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Greg?
I say no, because it's the way the land is out there, it's wet. There's, it's not done by the landowner, it's the way it is out there, so therefore, he's gonna need this variance for that type 3 to make the septic system work.
So it's a no or yes?
It's a yes, because of the land the way it is.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Anyone else from the board? Hearing none, I'll move on to question 6. Does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marvin?
Yes, I believe so, and the reason why, they checked to see if they have, what system they could have. A type 3 system is more expensive than to put in their traditional one. They're only taking 2.5 acres, not losing much ag property there, and just looking for a good place to put it. So I think they've got numerous things that they looked at just other than economics.
All right, anyone else from the board have a comment? All right, thank you. And with no other comments, we'll move to the vote. Back to question number 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comp Plan? Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
All right, question number 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the Land Use Ordinance? Myself is yes. George?
Yes, and I believe there was some conditions that go along with this.
One condition.
Yep.
All right, Clint?
Yeah, with the condition, I'll say yes.
Okay, George?
Yes.
Or Greg, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And Marvin?
Yes.
All right. Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Question number 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
And Clint?
Yes.
And number 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Back to Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
And Greg?
Yes.
All right. So all of the questions have been answered in the affirmative with the one condition. Do I have a motion to approve the request?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Motion
With
with the condition.
with the one condition?
Yes.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And seconded by Marvin. I have a motion and a second. I have a motion and a second to approve the request. The roll call vote, we'll start with Greg.
Yes.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
Myself is aye, and George.
Aye.
The motion to approve passes. Your variance has been granted for the septic system as requested with the one condition. Go ahead and contact Land Services for your permit moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck with it.
Darn conditions.
All right, moving on to our second item for the evening. Christopher Nealon, 4324 Bayview Trail, Cushing, Minnesota, 56443. Application for an after-the-fact variance to encroach on a side property line with an accessory structure located in part of Government Lot 2, Section 22, Township 132, Range 31, Scandia Valley Township. You're already at the table, so state your name and address for the record so that we know who's representing tonight.
Nicholas Nealon, do you want my address where I live or the
Yes.
property address?
No, where you live.
Okay, 7503 20th Street, Holdingford, Minnesota 56304.
Okay,
Matthew Barrett, 1273 14 Road, Loma, Colorado.
all right, thank you. And we'll move back here. Amy, do you have a staff report ready?
I do, Mr. Chair. Again, this is an after-the-fact request to continue a shed within setback to the side and rear property lines. The ordinance sections that pertain to this are 706.1B. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue. And then here is some oblique imagery as well. And here's a site drawing provided by the applicant. And then here are some site photos taken at the viewing. The property is within Section 22 of Scandia Valley Township on Lake Alexander. The property is a non-conforming single lot size. Is it Shamana? No. Yeah. Nicholas Nealand attended a development review team meeting on February 24th, 2020 to discuss the variance process to place a 12 by 30 or 35 shed within setback to the side and rear property lines. He was informed that no living quarters could be established and a variance application was not submitted. In November 2025, the Land Services Department became aware of 3 structures on the property with no permitting and not meeting setback. A first notice of violation was sent. The applicant responded after receiving the letter and explained the 2 small sheds function as a well house and a wood shed and have been there for years. Staff agreed to treat those 2 as replacements and allow permitting. The complaint would then concentrate on the larger shed that had been placed on the property. The applicant's father, Tom, attended a development review team meeting where he said the shed had been moved in about 5 years ago and that it is utilized as sleeping quarters on occasion. The property owner's father reports that he knows where the survey pins and property lines are. In that case, a survey is not required. Based on the information in the submitted site plan, the applicant requests an after-the-fact variance to keep the shed 12 inches from the east and rear property lines. The request does not include using the shed as living quarters, so those must be removed. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Amy. And back to the applicants, is what's been presented by the staff report accurate? And this is your opportunity to add any additional information for this board to consider.
Well, as you guys were out there yesterday, you seen that we have a very small lot, so that's why we're pushed it to the edges of the property, and then we use it, 95% of it is all storage for everything in the wintertime because, and on the weekends when we're not there, because stuff gets stolen and all that. I got some land up north that's been broken into multiple times already, so anything we can do to lock things up and make it so it's harder for people to get, just better for everything. And it's hard to see from the road and not really noticeable anywhere, so it's not an eyesore or anything like that, so, yeah.
Okay, and you, sir, anything?
No,
Okay. And just for the record, we were all out there. Marvin, you made it to this one?
Yes, I did. I made it about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, but it was light enough where we could see it.
Last night?
Yes.
Okay, and the rest of us viewed it yesterday at 1 o'clock as posted. Back to the board. Questions that the board has for the applicants?
Mr. Chairman.
George?
So I guess, Nicholas, I'm looking at the staff report here, and in February of 2020, you came in and visited with them. So I guess my question is, how did we get to February of 2020, and you submitted no application, and then somehow these sheds automatically or mysteriously show up? So how did that transpire, and why? I guess
I mean,
that's,
the bigger shed that's there, that big gray one, that one, I just bought it and I figured it's not sitting on a foundation, it's just sitting on a block, so I didn't think I really needed anything for it. And the other one, the pump house and that that wood shed has been there forever. I mean, we've had that pump house, that's the pump and everything else in it. So, and the wood shed's been there because we have lots of campfires, so. And then we just cover the wood and without a tarp so it doesn't look disgusting, and so.
well, I guess, the problem here is, I'm sure that the staff explained to you what constitutes needing a permit or a variance versus not needing a permit or a
Well,
variance.
I've learned over the last months now that you need a permit for everything.
Okay.
So I'm learning here real fast on how this all
Well,
works.
that's where I'm going with this, because here we sit and we don't necessarily like these after the fact ones, because it really backs us into a corner. So-
Okay.
So I'll yield my time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, George. Board?
Mr. Chair.
Clint?
Nick, yesterday we kind of talked, were you able to get calculated impervious surface or any of that? Did you measure up anything, or?
I think we're at like 13% of our total land that can be covered or whatever however you want to say it. Not including, we don't have to count the road, I guess, so that helps out quite a bit. And then with the parking for vehicles, most weekends there's 1 or 2 cars there, and we move them around all the time, so we're not killing the grass and keeping everything green or whatever for green space.
So when you figured that 13%, was that both sides of the road or just the north side of the road?
I was figuring just the north
Okay.
side. I didn't,
it's about at 1,800 square feet total with
Okay.
all buildings and what we talked about yesterday.
Okay.
Other questions of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
George?
so what is the lot size, the dimensions of the lot, everything? Both sides of the road, it's, what, 55 feet wide, and how long?
100, or, I don't even know off the top of my head anymore.
It's 0.31 acres is all I can tell you.
0.31 acres, so. Well, I guess myself, I don't know where the rest of you guys are at, but, with the impervious surface, that's always one thing that we always look at pretty hard on these variances. And, do we want more information on that impervious surface?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Amy.
the other question that I have is I wasn't out at the viewing, but my staff was, and he said that there's actually 2 sheds
Yeah.
that it doesn't show up on your site drawing, it doesn't show up in
Well,
your
I
request.
totally
It
forgot.
doesn't show up anywhere.
That's-
So you're actually asking, there's more going on out there than, what
Yeah.
you requested, so.
I mean, in the picture that you showed us, you were after the one, and then I figured that someone was out there and seen it and walked through the property, and they didn't say anything about that other one, and they're right next to each other, the whole I just took everything from the picture that you guys have and transferred it from one side of the building, property to the other side because we got rid of an old camper that was falling apart, and I got a bigger fifth wheel camper, and also I had to move everything to the other side.
So,
So now you'd probably be able to
so on
see
your
it in there.
site drawing, you're not showing that other shed
I
at all?
forgot about it.
Then the other thing is you're not showing any of those recreational vehicles. Are those there all the time?
They get moved out.
No,
Like
my-
how often?
My camper is gone, like, it'll be there, it's there this week because we're on vacation, and then it'll be gone for a couple weeks at a time, and then that second camper, my dad's, his is just up there for when he's in from Colorado to sleep in and
Yeah.
just overflow for it, and
So is it permanently?
No.
No,
located?
they're not
It'll be all
permanent.
by-
They move out whenever there's no,
by Friday, or by the week, by next Monday, it'll be gone. It'll be sitting back
So
at,
you use 2 recreational vehicles intermittently throughout the summer?
yes.
Okay.
So, and they just come in and out. Mine comes in there just about every other weekend, because I go up to, my in-laws up in Breezy Point. We go up there and use it up there for sleeping up there,
Okay.
so.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
George?
so are we happy with this impervious surface number, or do we think that's where it's close, or?
Mr. Chair, with that being said, sorry to interrupt, we've done this in the past. If we went ahead and put a condition, they must be below 25%, and we can have someone come in from land service to measure, to verify that they're below that 25% impervious surface as a condition.
Mr. Chair,
Amy?
if you don't grant them a variance to be over 25%, they can't be. I mean, that's a requirement. So they're gonna have to run an impervious surface
yeah,
calc.
we measured all
And
buildings
we want to see
on.
it on a worksheet.
Yeah.
Typically, we require that with a survey. We require a surveyor to do that. We relieved you of that requirement because you said you knew where your pins, and now lo and behold, we've got more than one building that needs a variance. We've got campers all over the place. We've got possible living quarters. So you got a mess out there, you know. You're packing a lot on a little spot, and not sure you've captured everything that you've got going on here for consideration. So I just want to make sure that the Board of Adjustment is crystal clear on what you're considering and what you're granting, and then that impervious surface, if it's not working, they'll either need to come back for another variance, or they're going to have to remove and get down to that.
Thank you, Amy. I've got a couple questions, and I'll leave some time here for the rest of the board, but my question is going to be back to you, Amy. So if we were looking at, because these storage structures of today are not the storage
Right.
structures of yesteryear, where everybody had an 8x8 shed or an 8x10 shed. Now we're looking at a 12x32 shed. That's larger than a typical one-car garage. And when we're looking at lake lots and impervious surfaces, just sliding one in and taking it to the far corner of the lot and plopping it down is kind of what we have here. And this one seems to have an air conditioner in it. There's been some recorded information that it's used as living quarters on occasion. We heard that yesterday, that occasionally it is used for sleepovers for kids on weekends and whatnot. That's not allowed.
Okay.
Secondly, meeting setbacks is something, if we were to have somebody come in and ask us for a 12x24 garage, they're gonna have to meet the setbacks. We're on a lake lot, there's gotta be survey markings, there's gotta be a notification to us, to the county, to make sure that that fits for the land and what it's intended for. And this appears to be where, to me, it appears where one put one in, so the next door neighbor put one in, and then the other neighbor put one in, and we've got 3 issues going on, and if we don't address this now, it's gonna open up a huge hornet's nest for us and land services in the future. So I'm concerned about this, and I don't, as much as it looks appropriate to take a storage shed and put it in the back corner as close to the lot line as you can, as long as you got the permission of your neighbors to do so, well, that's fine today, but tomorrow there might be a different owner of that property, and there might be a different owner to the neighbor's property, and so that's kind of what we address here at the Board of Adjustment is this, if we're to issue a variance, it goes with the land, and so it's not to you, and it's nothing for you or against you.
Okay.
It's to the land, and then that will be recorded, and if we put a variance, approve a variance for a 12 by 32 structure, that's forever. And so there'll be a replacement for that to be in that location, wherever it is, and so that's why we have setbacks from sidelines, setbacks from rear property lines, and setbacks from the lake to protect the water and all of those issues. And it seems like to me that somebody came in, asked some questions back in 2020, disregarded those, and went ahead and did something. So those are just comments of mine from what I see here. I'm going to open it up to the rest of the board if they've got other questions or comments that comes to their mind.
Mr. Chairman.
George.
So I guess in light of all this, I guess what I'd like to see is that we continue this to our next meeting and have them get an impervious surface calculation on this lot, both sides of the road, because that's what we're looking for here. I mean, we don't know what is road right-of-way. Is the road right-of-way 50 feet wide? Is it 66 feet wide? Is it 100 feet wide? We don't know any of that. So we don't have any information on any of that stuff. So I guess I would like to continue this to our next meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Amy.
when you say that, are you wanting them to perform it, or do you want a surveyor to perform it?
I think, go ahead. Go ahead, George.
Well, I guess who's ever qualified to do it. It could be a surveyor.
Well, we've required every other shore landowner to have a
Well,
surveyor.
then that's what we do.
And then
All
the
for
other
one and
thing
one
is,
for
is
all,
then
yeah.
I think we need to go on site because my understanding is there is also a fence that went up without a permit. Is there a fence in
That's
between the
not
two
on my
properties?
property.
That's not on your property?
No.
Okay. That's the Strutz?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Clint.
Amy, how does it work for our time?
Well, what I was gonna say is that if a surveyor, that's a quick
Yeah.
turnaround. And so, we can extend the 60-day rule, is, to August 10th, but we can kick that out another 60 days.
Okay.
Which is what I would do.
Okay.
And then that would buy them time to get everything in and make sure it's thorough. And then we will do a very thorough site visit. I
Okay.
think we're gonna have to be out on site on several properties out there.
Okay.
And then, so I don't know that I would assign a particular
Exactly.
agenda, just because we're at the mercy of someone else's schedule.
So that's where I'm getting at is I think it's very important what George is asking for, but I also think it's important that we respect the applicants, that we don't make them repay and do all that
Correct.
stuff.
And
So that's what I'm looking at, is to make sure you can fit in that time frame to get these things done. That's why I asked the question.
If it's continued, they don't have to pay another fee. We do extend
Okay.
a rehearing
Okay.
fee for incomplete application.
Yep.
It's not that much, and it doesn't cover the expense of it, but
Yep, yep.
yes, they would not need to
Okay.
reapply. We would just suspend this until they're ready. So if that is the case, then someone would need to make a motion to continue this item, and then with the task of getting an impervious surface calculation, and
survey.
by a surveyor, yes, and then we would take care of the rest.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion for them to hire a surveyor to get the impervious surface calculation, and we'll move it to a meeting down the road. We'll continue it to a meeting down the road, so they don't have to pay the Board of Adjustment application fee.
No,
No, we're not into public comment right now. So we'll suspend this,
Continue it.
or continue this portion of the meeting at a future date to be set once that's completed and provided to Land Services. So there's a motion for that, and is there a second?
I will second that.
We have a motion, and we have a second. And we'll take a roll call vote on that, starting with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
And myself is aye. George.
Aye.
So we have a motion and a second and a roll call vote to continue this meeting for to be determined date in the future once those requirements are met by the applicants. And so we will,
So I will send you a letter, and I will say that the Board of Adjustment has chosen to continue the meeting pending a surveyor completing an impervious surface calculation. And then when you have that, then the surveyor will send it, and then we'll put it back on for consideration. In the meantime, though, I need to make sure we're including everything, because it looks like there's at least a second shed that needs to be considered in this. So you're gonna need to amend your application, so it includes everything that you need unless you're gonna be removing something.
So you're asking for that shed behind that gray one?
If you want it to stay there, it's not included in this request. You identified the one shed.
Okay,
And so
I
if
was
you,
going off of what you guys had sent us was that one shed there, so I figured the other one never left, so I'm trying to figure out, did they just think it was all one big shed, or?
I'm guessing so.
Well, that's what was said on location yesterday. They thought with tree coverage and all that, it was
Yeah.
one big building. It's always been two separate buildings.
Yep, so we just want to make sure that whatever you've got there, you've got the variance secured for.
Okay, so now we gotta do it for that other one.
Yeah, yep. So you'll get a letter in the mail, but this is, we're not going to go any farther tonight with the application.
Can I get it, can I get it switched to a different mailing address, to my Holding Ford mailing address?
To the letter?
Yes, the letter,
Absolutely. Do you want to give that to me now, or do you want to call that, well, you're on the record and you're being recorded, so
let me make
do you
sure
want
I
to give
read
that
it
to
right
me tomorrow? Or right
yeah.
now?
Well, I can just, yeah, I'll come in tomorrow.
Sounds good.
That'll be easier.
all right, thank you, and we'll see you in the future sometime.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is Mark and Teresa Strout, 4332 Bayview Trail, Cushing, Minnesota, 56443, application for an after-the-fact variance to encroach on a septic tank, a side and rear property lines with an accessory structure located in part of Government Lot 2, Section 22, Township 132, Range 31, Scandia Valley Township. And it looks like Mark is here. If you'll state your name and address for the record, so we have that information.
Thank you. Mark Stroke. My living address is 13. I got the lot. The house. Sorry about that. You're making me all kinds of nervous here. The 13723 Vista Oaks Drive, Southwest Villager.
All right.
Sorry, I had the lake lot in my head.
Mental block.
That's all right, thank you. And Amy, do you have a staff report ready for us?
I do, Mr. Chair. This is an after-the-fact variance request to continue a shed within setback to the holding tank, side, and rear property line. The ordinance section that applies is 706.1B and 1301.34. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue. And then here's some oblique imagery as well. And then here is the site drawing provided by the applicant. And then here's some site photos taken at the viewing. The property is within Section 22 of Scandy Valley Township on Lake Alexander. The property is a non-conforming single lot size. In November 2025, the Land Services Department became aware of 4 structures on the property that lacked permits and did not meet setback requirements, and a first notice of violation was sent. The applicant responded after receiving the letter and stated they would remove the 3 small sheds on the west side of the property and seek an after-the-fact variance for the 4th shed on the northeast corner of the property. Based on the information in the submitted site plan, the applicant requests an after-the-fact variance to keep the shed 12 inches from the septic holding tank, the east and rear property lines. Also, Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that the sheds he identified were going to remove were not removed. 2 of them are still remaining on site. That has not been included in the variance application, so you're gonna need some clarification on that. And then also at the site viewing then, it was discovered there is a fence, which also requires a permit. That isn't necessarily a violation, but it is something that is additional. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Amy. And back to you, Mark. Is what she presented here accurate to the best of your knowledge?
No, I would like to put a clarification in, please.
Okay, go ahead.
2 of the sheds have been removed. I
Okay.
think she mentioned 1 shed was removed and 2 remaining. There are 2 remaining, but only 1 is was there before. The second one is the new one that we're discussing.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, what I have on the aerial are these 3 lined up right here. It was staff's understanding that these 3 were going to be removed. And so you're saying 2 of them have been removed and 1 is still remaining?
That's correct.
And then also this one? So we've got one,
So,
two.
no, your lines are off a little bit.
I understand that.
The blue one that you see there is actually on the neighbor's property.
Okay.
That is not my shed. That picture does not show the new shed. If you look at your next picture, you'll see the new shed. You'll see
Okay.
2 sheds up there now. So,
Okay.
and those sheds are gone, and in the upper left corner there, north, that is the one that we just slid down the fence line.
Okay, so so are you asking for a variance for this one as well? Because it's not included or
Yeah,
addressed,
I'm not sure I remember that original conversation exactly. We were cleaning up the property. We're new owners as of, this is our 3rd year. So to improve the green space of the lot, we were taking down the other sheds, and we did that. The one was in pretty good shape yet, so we did leave that one.
It appears that it would not meet setback from the rear or the side property line.
It does not. If that's the case, that
And so
does
is
not.
that, we wouldn't be able to permit it unless you secure a variance.
Okay.
In your application, you've identified the 1 shed in the northeast corner. Are you
Then I
wanting
would like to
consideration
amend,
for
I'd
the
like
other
to have that
one?
amended to include that shed. Yes, please.
Okay. All right, and you have found your survey pins?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know what the setback is for that shed? Since the application was concentrating on the one in the northeast corner, do you have setback information for the one in the northwest?
It's 1 foot from the fence line, 2 feet from the back line.
And your fence line runs on the property line, a foot off the property line? Do you know where your,
The new fence that we're talking about there?
yes,
The fence is on my side of the line, close
Okay.
to the line.
how far? It's required to be a foot. Is it a foot?
No,
Okay.
no, it's less than that.
All right,
There's
we-
telephone poles there that are
Okay.
on the property, and they're on the inside of the telephone pole. So
Okay.
half of a telephone pole,
All right.
8 inches.
So the fence does not meet the required setback. We do allow them to be placed on the property line with recorded mutual agreement between the 2 sharing property owners. We don't have that. And so we have maybe some modifications to this request to make sure that we're addressing everything that I don't know that we've got framed up here.
I have the neighbor to my west here. Being this is recording, could I ask them to come forward and verbally
show a recorded agreement that that fence is okay?
No, that would need to be a written, recorded against your property.
Written recorded, not verbal recorded?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yep.
Okay, that's news to me. But I
Yeah,
got it
that-
written down
that-
now.
That's what happens. If you ask about permitting a fence, we'd tell you that. So,
Fair?
okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm done now.
All right, thank you, Amy.
I just wanted to make sure we knew, it's, again, important for you to know what all you're considering here.
Yes.
Understood.
All right, and just for the record, we were all out there yesterday. Marvin?
I was there yesterday, visited with your wife, said you just left the yard there, so I apologize for that.
No problem.
I
Thank
was
you for
busy
showing up.
making hay during the day, so.
Make hay while the sun shines, right?
Exactly.
So we were all out there and were able to see the site. And any other additions, corrections that you have that you want to make at this time?
I have some new documentation that I received yesterday. Is this the time to present that for you?
Yes. If
So-
if you have something, explain it, and then bring it up to Amy, give it to Amy so that it can be part of the record.
And I apologize for not getting this to you earlier, Amy. This was last minute all day yesterday. I did have the septic pumped and cleared and certified and filed. We got all that done yesterday, so I can bring this up to you, and I have a copy for you of the paid receipt showing it's done, and the compliance inspection report form. If you'd like that now, I can bring that to you.
Mr. Chair, we do have that on record already in the office.
Okay?
I wasn't quite sure how fast that paperwork moves, so
Mr.
thank you.
Chair, on that same note, when I was talking to your wife, you said you were measuring for impervious surface.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, that needs.
That would be my next document here. The site plan that you have there, I cleaned it up a little bit because I did some exact measuring. And I have two questions before I read through this real quick. The stairs from to the dock, is that considered impervious? It's open back,
Impervious.
it is impervious, okay. I did include that. And what was and then I have a wood shed with graded signs. I'm assuming that's impervious too. It's not a shed, it's,
Yeah.
so I have also included that. So the lot size is 55 foot by 233 foot. That includes both north and south side of the road. There's a pump house in there that's 5 by 5. That's 25 feet. There's an existing shed, that's the one in the northwest. That's 8 by 12, that's 96 feet. The little wood holder is 5 by 3, that's 15 feet. The driveway is 10 by 66, that's 660 feet. The house, the main house on the north side is 35 by 26. That's 910 feet. There's a sidewalk in front of that, that's 27 feet, square feet. The cabin and deck on the south side, I measured that as one piece. The deck wraps around the west side and the south side of the bunkhouse. We're calling it bunkhouse. That's 945 feet. The sidewalk from that up to the road is 4 by 20, 80 feet. The lake stairs that down to the dock is 5 by 8. That's 40 feet. And this new shed that we're discussing is 12 by 32. That's 384 feet. That's a total of 3182 square feet. The lot size being 55 by 233. That's 12,815 feet times a quarter to meet would be 3203.75, and we are under that. And if you'd like, I can present this, Amy, to.
Yes, please.
Any questions?
No, go ahead and give that to Amy.
Thank you.
One final item I'd have to do during our walkthrough, there was some concern that the wash off from the roof of the shed might land on the septic. So during the inspection, I asked them, and I have it in writing here, and I'll present that, the whole conversation here, about, my point blank question is, based on the inspection of the tank, could it be determined if groundwater runoff from the roof of the shed could enter into the tank, thus filling it quicker than general use? I think that was the question that we had on site yesterday. Their response, this is Feidler's. Based on our inspection, we did not observe anything indicating roof runoff or groundwater is entering the holding tank. A properly functioning holding tank is designed to be watertight. So under normal conditions, groundwater or surface runoff should not infiltrate the tank. While we cannot completely rule out infiltration during flooding or other weather catastrophes, nothing we observed during the inspection suggests that groundwater or water from the shed roof is entering the tank or causing it to fill more quickly. If the tank is filling faster than expected, other factors such as increased use or more frequent occupancy may be contributing to the increased volume. The average full-time household with a septic system would only go 2 to 4 weeks before the tank is back to the full line, trickling out into the drain field. I don't have a drain field, these are holding tanks. So with only a holding tank and no drain field for the water to flow to, taking over a year to fill the tank is actually a pretty long time, especially now that you are there more often. I've been emptying it once a year. My wife has recently had knee replacement surgery, so we're living there because there's no stairs. So I would like to present this, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
That's my new information that I based off of your questions yesterday.
Okay, go ahead, Amy.
The impervious surface calc that he submitted, he's at 24.8%.
Including the new shed that we're discussing.
All right, anything else that you would like to present?
That's what I have so far based off of your questions on the site visits yesterday.
Okay, thank you for providing that to Amy and for Land Services. I'll open this up to the board for questions, comments, and concerns.
So I guess my question is for the rest of the board members are, I guess, we made his neighbor get an impervious surface by a surveyor. Are we going to allow his measurements for impervious surface, or are we going to require him to do the same thing?
Mr. Chair,
Marvin, go ahead.
what I've noticed, his wife pointed out the survey pins, pointed out everything there. What is seen on the map here seems pretty straightforward. I don't think we're missing anything. I think we could take this, but that's just my opinion.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Marvin. Amy?
I would just say, the only other thing is there is another structure out there that wasn't included in the application that is now needing to be considered. And so that would be something that you'd just want to make sure, if you're going to move forward with this, that you are considering everything that he's asking for, or he'll need to amend his application.
As well as the fence?
It depends on, well, we can't entertain a fence variance tonight because it was not advertised
No,
this way.
but I mean, if he's going to address things or amend things,
Yes,
he should clean everything up.
yes.
Fair?
Because you don't want to go through this over and over again.
Nope.
So,
I tried to be as thorough as I could with the documents
Yeah.
that were presented.
Mr. Chair,
Clint, go ahead.
one thing I want to get clear is I appreciate the site visit yesterday. I appreciate all the questions. I can sincerely think you guys are trying to take care of this the right way. It's messed up. We're trying to get it figured out. We have to know exactly what we're doing. You want to know exactly what we're doing and what you should be doing. And I think with the impervious surface, I totally believe your calculations. I'm not thinking you're trying to hide anything or anything like that. But we're looking at a 24.8. That's riding right on what our limit is. We got that other shed, we got the fence line. So Amy, I'll ask you this. It isn't advertised, but if we continue this one, could he get that fence on?
We would need to re-advertise it.
But it could still fall under the,
Yes, and he'd have to amend the application. We'd need a little something more from him, like an updated site drawing and some language about what exactly he's asking. And then we would update that with you when it goes to hearing.
so I'd make a motion to continue this, and I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm doing it to actually help you to try and get everything taken care of at one time.
I
okay?
appreciate that. I'm an owner of 3 years.
Yeah.
I actually thought the other sheds were
Yep.
part of it. You know, that wasn't disclosed during the purchase of the property. And the intent here was to put a new shed in lieu of the dilapidating sheds, trying to improve the green space of the lot.
Just a lot of things here, so I'd like to make that motion that we continue this on the same kind of the thing as we did for the last applicant.
Which is for
And Miss-
a survey and impervious surface calculation, okay?
Matt,
And then for him to get a chance to amend his application.
May I comment on the survey? When we originally brought this, and I say we because the neighborhood's all aware that what we're doing, there's, to my knowledge, no public disagreement against this. I don't know if there's been something anonymous. I don't know what brought this to the plate in the first place. That's okay. We were told that because we knew where the survey pins were, that we could avoid the cost of hiring a surveyor. And, you know, I'm willing to walk through anybody with those details, with the measurements as I did them. I rounded up to the numbers to make sure I was fully covering anything that was there. If it was, you know, something in 9 inches, I made it 12 inches, so that there would be no questions if it was ever double-checked.
All right, thank you. And we have a motion. Do I have a second to the motion that Clint made?
I'll make a second, Mr. Chairman.
All right, a motion is made by Clint, seconded by George, to continue this meeting pending a survey and impervious surface calculation and to amend the variance application to include all buildings and fence moving forward. And with a motion and a second, I'll take a roll call vote. I'll take a roll call vote.
Can I get a clarity? Not yet?
Just,
Okay, go ahead.
just wait. I have a motion and a second. I'll take a roll call vote for the approval, starting with Greg.
Yes.
Marvin.
Nay.
Aye.
Myself is aye, and George.
Aye.
All right. So we have 4 in favor, motion carries. So we'll continue this meeting into the future. You, as well as your neighbor, will work, maybe you can work jointly together on whoever comes out to do your survey, or you work independently, it's up to you. But then present that information to Land Services so that they have that information moving forward. And we'll get you on a future agenda with all of the information to try and get everything addressed at one time.
I appreciate that. So what I'm hearing is the grant to us previously to waive the survey is being taken away?
At this point, yes. Moving forward on this variance application.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Clint.
I'll just maybe try and clear it up a little bit for you. So it got waived, okay? I don't feel bad about what you tell me where the pins are. I believe that, okay? Here's the thing is, we need to know exactly where everything is. We need to know when you calculated, I believe that you did your calculation right, but we have to, it's 24.8, 25 is the limit. We got a lot of things going on here. We just want to make sure everything's right, so that's why I made that motion, okay? It's nothing personal about anybody. It got waived, and we're not doing it just because of that, but we need to know. We made a rule a year ago that everybody has to have it surveyed so we know exactly, okay? And it got waived for you. Didn't do it just because it got waived for you. I need to know them numbers exactly, so that's why.
I understand that, and it is surveyed because there are monuments out there and we know where those monuments are. So resurveying is,
Well,
Well, that was
basi-
a boundary survey.
Yeah.
So surveyors do, run the impervious surface calc, they run setbacks, they run all of those other things. So,
it feels like an extra cost being burdened on to
no,
us.
and actually, it was a
Well,
gift.
that's what it feels like.
It was, no, because anybody else who has a shoreline variance, right out of the gate, no questions asked, they must have a survey, and it must contain this, and this. It's a whole laundry list. Understanding that we thought this was a very straightforward, just encroaching on it, but now we're pushing, we've got more structures. We're pushing a fence that is maybe on the line, maybe a little off the line, but we don't know for sure. And then also, we're bumping right up on that impervious surface. And so if we have to address the impervious surface overage, we need to know that.
I understand, and I would have been more prepared here with that survey, but you all waived that requirement, so feels like an extra burden.
Yeah.
Understood. So you're continued to a future meeting date, you just provide that information, work with Land Services to get that, they'll put you on the agenda for a future date, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but there's no future fee for this, it's just a continuance on.
That's correct. We bear all this expense to redo this, so.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, the fourth item on agenda is Ryan, what's that? Ryan and Caitlin Strandberg, 3896 75th Street, Swanville, Minnesota, 56382. Application for a variance to separate a feedlot residence from the feedlot within the setback located in part of south half of the northeast quarter, section 28, township 128, range 31, Swanville Township. And as you make your way up here, go ahead and get situated, pull the microphone up close so that you can state your name and address for the record so we know that who's here representing.
Catherine Strandberg, 3896 75th Street, Swanville.
Ryan Strandberg, 3896 75th Street, Swanville.
All right, thank you. And Amy, do you have a staff report ready on this one?
I do, Mr. Chair. This is a request to separate a feedlot residence from a dairy farm within the required setback for a non-feedlot residence. The ordinance section that applies is 1209.1. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue and yellow. And then here is some oblique imagery as well. Then here are some photos taken at the site viewing. This registered Tier 2 dairy farm is situated on a 70.59 acre parcel. The associated feedlot residence is on a 5-acre parcel to the east. The applicant plans to sell the dairy farm and other contiguous acreage and desires to retain ownership of the parcel on which their home is. The applicant requests a variance to allow a non-feedlot residence within setback to a Tier 2 feedlot. The closest animal holding area from the home is about 125 feet, 660 feet is required. There may be a lot line adjustment to occur if the property line is where it is on Beacon. The buyer of the feedlot has the first right of refusal of the separated home when it comes time to sell the property. The surrounding area consists of feedlots, agricultural fields, and rural residences. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Amy. And to the applicants, is what she's presented, the staff report, accurate? And do you have any additional information you'd like to add at this time?
Nothing new.
It's accurate.
Okay, thank you. And then with that, I'll move it to, well, I'll just make a comment. We were all there and site visited yesterday. Marvin?
I did not make it. I kind of know the area, been past it a few times, but I did not make it out there.
All right, thank you for that. And I'll move this to the board for questions, comments, and concerns.
Mr. Chairman,
George?
so this question's for Amy. So Amy, so if we were to do this, does that put a burden on the person that is buying the farm? As far as, does he need a variance if he were to build something on that site? Does he need a variance?
Yes and no. So those setbacks are reciprocal, and so the home needs to meet the setback from the feedlot, and the feedlot needs to meet the setback from the home. And so if there is expansion within this existing tier, That can happen with permitting, but there can't be any further encroachment. If the farm goes to a new tier, now we're wiping the slate clean and everything needs to meet that setback, and so a variance would be needed for anything that would not meet setback.
Okay, so just so I'm clear on this, so let's say the new owner wanted to build a barn, and he built it out here by the manure pit. He wouldn't need a variance for that then, right?
If it met setback from the
house,
home and
4 or
stayed
6.
within the existing tier. So if he stays within the existing tier, he can go as close as the closest
Okay,
animal holding area. If he's proposing to go to tier 3, then that new barn would need to meet setback.
okay, that was my question. I know I asked that at the site visit too. I just wanted to make sure that it's
Yes.
part of the record. Okay, thank you.
Questions from the board? If not, I've got one question. Amy, I just wanted to clarify. So this is 70.59 acres minus 5, or it makes it 70.59 with the 5 carved out?
The parcel that the farm sits on is 70.59 acres, and that 5-acre piece the house sits on gave them the 75, and it was included as the feedlot residence. However, other contiguous acreage is being sold, so we are still meeting that 75 contiguous acreage requirement, but it's not going to include this home.
Okay. And then my follow-up question to that was, if they went from a tier 2, whoever the purchaser is of the farm, and they went to a tier 3, what is that acreage requirement?
75.
75,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Clint, go ahead.
Amy, it's for you, we had a little discussion on the visit yesterday about, it's a shared sewer. And you could do that in your office where they can do an agreement or whatever, right? Okay, but,
Yeah, we'll certainly allow it if it's a shared septic. We would, typically look at an easement to use that. Banks hate it.
yeah.
They don't like that, but that's not what we worry about. So from a zoning standpoint, it's not that big of a deal, but generally for banks it is.
And then we just go along with how it always has been with so many bedrooms for the sewer sizing. So like if somebody uses the house a little bit different, that ain't gonna matter. It still goes by the bedrooms in each dwelling, is that?
Yeah, if there's a proposal for either one of those structures, like if they're gonna expand or something, we definitely are gonna look at that, and it's going to trigger a septic inspection, and then there's gonna have to be some agreement between the two as far as who's responsible to inspect it, who's responsible since it's shared. So if there's anything that triggers a septic system inspection, that's gonna have to get ironed out between the two separate property owners as far as who's gonna do that. If there is an expansion of the home of bedrooms, then we definitely would be looking at capacity.
Okay. Okay, so, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So this is more a comment, or maybe I have a question, I just forgot it now, but maybe it'll come back to me as I'm going through this. Here's where, I got the question, I'll write that down. Okay, so here's where it's difficult for me on this one. So I farm, I want to live on my farm, and I want to die on my farm, okay? So I understand why you want to keep your house. But now if we just look at it from a different angle, everybody that farms, we got to worry about houses around us and all that, and somebody being across the road and all that, and we're worrying about that. And here we're going to set one up for that, okay? It goes with the land. You said yesterday that all the person purchasing the farm is going to have first right of refusal to buy it, or they're going to buy it. Well, we're looking at today, that could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, we don't know. So it's just a little difficult for me. I always stick up for agriculture and try and keep these farms safe. We got setbacks and all that stuff, and here now we're creating one that's going to be basically be a nonconformity. So that's where I got a difficult part with this. But my question to you guys is, one of our questions we got to answer here is question 4, an alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to this property. So do you have an answer for that, what the practical difficulty and why we should grant this variance? Do you have an answer for that? What's a practical difficulty here?
It's our house. We want to stay in our house. If it was you, if you had to sell your farm by no choice of your own, and you had the option of, but can I keep this separate parcel with my house that I've lived in for 40 years?
Yep.
What would you want to do?
I totally get it. But I'm
Okay.
just saying we have to answer these questions. So that's where it gets a little tough for me. So that's why I'm just asking if you guys have a practical difficulty. Because that's the hardest question for us to answer on here. And I read through the packet and I didn't really get one, so that's why I'm giving you the opportunity if you can help me out with that.
What's a practical difficulty? Making us move? That's a difficulty.
Okay, I'm good.
Other
Mr.
questions
Chair.
of the board? Greg?
Amy, is there a way that when they are done with the house, can it be put back into the farm? Can it be a stipulation that if we grant this, that when they're done living in it, that it goes all back together again?
Not
It's a separate
really,
parcel.
because it's a separate parcel, and we'd essentially be putting that condition on another property owner.
Got it.
And so that's where we're not able to do that.
Can't put a sunset time on it.
No, unfortunately, variances run with the land.
Land, yes, yes, understand.
Other questions of the board before I move to public comment? All right, we'll move to public comment, and then I'll bring it back to the board. At this time, if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request, go ahead and take the podium over there, state your name and address for the record.
Dave Van Heel, 1603 145th Street, Swanville. I'm the proposed owner, buyer, I should say, of this property. I understand their difficulties with doing this. I don't have a problem with them owning that parcel. The potential for expansion is always on our minds, and I'm hoping that if this is variance, that we would also be able to variance the expansion if we ever decide to do that. Basically, nothing's changed. A few more cattle, but the cattle wouldn't be any closer, but they would not be probably 660 feet, the expansion part. But I'm also thinking the neighbor's probably not 660 feet either, so it's kind of the same thing. But they've expressed many times to me that they really had difficulty leaving that home. I understand that. And we've been renting the facility for the last 2-3 months, and I've asked them about how we are performing, going right through their yard, and don't seem to have any problem with that. I said, if there's anybody that you have problems with, you let us know, because we do go right through their yard, right in front of their house. And actually, Ryan had told me that he kind of enjoys it. He can sit out there and watch things happen, and he's a farmer at heart, and I understand it. So I have absolutely no problem with it, and very, very, very good chance that we would buy that whenever they decide to sell that, so we don't have this problem again.
All right, thank you, Dave. All right, a second call for public comment. And having none, I'll make a third and final call for public comment. Having no further public comment, do I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Motion was made by Marvin, second by
I'll second it.
George. All in favor, starting with Greg,
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
Myself is aye, and George.
Aye.
Public portion of the meeting is now closed. Back to the board for further questions, comments, and concerns.
Mr. Chair,
Marvin, go ahead.
county ordinance wants us to not create nonconformities. I get that we tried to get rid of the nonconformities, and we're creating one. And I empathize their situation where they're at here, but there may be other alternatives, and maybe they explored them. I've heard of other people being in the same situation where they went ahead and sold it as a whole and said they could stay living as long as possible in the buildings. I'm sure they'd have to check with lawyers, but there's other alternatives so they could stay in their existing home. But the county ordinance doesn't want us to create nonconformities. And it doesn't go to the person, it goes to the land. And that's what we're looking at. Who's to say how much longer you're gonna be around? We all could be gone tomorrow, just like that. But it would go to the next landowner, even though Dave said he'd like to purchase it, but it doesn't mean it will go that route. So anyhow, just a comment.
All right, thank you, Marvin. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Clint, go ahead.
So one thing, it just, what this makes so difficult, I think there's gonna be a lot of these that come in the future, okay? And we're gonna work on this, but we haven't not got that far yet, okay? So that's what makes this one just a little bit harder because I wouldn't say it makes a precedence, but it kind of works forward to what's gonna happen in the future in our ordinance or however we put this together. But one thing I will say is, what makes it so hard is there's gonna be a lot of these, but kind of what Marv said, we don't wanna make nonconformities, but then the other thing is, we wanna save our ag land and we don't wanna just build a bunch of houses out in ag land. Okay, so, we have a house here already. This is hypothetical, if it said no, and then who said they couldn't build a house down the road, right? Now we're adding another house on farmland that, so that kind of goes against some of what ordinance says too. So we'd be going against what ordinance says here, but then we'd be going with ordinance here. So it's a really tough one when I look at it from that aspect. And the whole ag thing is just complicated. With people living, hired help, it's just, there's a lot of dynamics, okay? And I think we need to overhaul the ordinance on some of this. It don't help us for tonight. So we just gotta use our best judgment and look through this here. And that's where I'm coming from on it. So I agree with what Marv said. I do. I'm not disagreeing with that, but we're going against one and going with one maybe. So I think it's a little different than maybe if you're looking at Lake Shore or something like that. So it's tough and everything's different. Ag's different than Lake Shore. We just listen to Lake Shore that they're inches away from each other. That's the way that is. Here we're talking, it's not gonna meet setbacks to the feedlot part of it, but it can be doable. There'd be some other repercussions maybe later on. So there's a lot of things that go into this, so it's not just an easy thing. So that's why I asked that question. I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that, because literally to get this through, we have to answer them questions. So that's why I brought that up, and that's just a challenge for me, and that's why I just wanted to discuss that further. So them are just comments and things that's going through my head on which way to go. That's just all I guess I wanted to just say that I agree with Marv, but yet we go against one, we're helping one. That's how I see it. That's my personal opinion, but.
All right, thank you, Clint. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Marvin.
When Clint stated, we meet occasionally with the county commissioners, and I remember one of the meetings, Clint bringing it to the county commissioners and saying, you've got to look at this. We are going to start seeing more and more of these here, farms like that are going to want to still live out there and have and be able to sell the property off, and how are we going to do this? So it is being looked at, but the ordinance states this in here we're trying to see relief at it, but anyhow, it's definitely been looked at.
All right, thank you, Marvin. Any other comments from the board? If not, I'll move on to the findings of fact criteria questions. Hearing none, I'll ask the first question of Greg. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan?
It's a difficult one. Like you said, we don't want to be moving out in the corner of the field, putting another house up when it's sitting there. But then he said you don't want to go against the ordinance and have non-conforming structures, so I struggle with that.
All right, anyone else from the board?
Mr. Chairman.
George?
So I guess I'm looking at this one here, and Greg's right, they're tough to answer. All these questions are tough to answer on this request. But I guess I'm looking at the home has been there for 36 years. That's being separated from the farming operation because it's being sold to somebody else who's going to farm it. The change does add some burden to the new owner of the farm, depending on where that farm goes. It doesn't change any other facet of the farm other than the setback of 125 feet from a Tier 2 feedlot. So I guess my thought that the request is in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the ordinance and comp plan.
All right, thank you, George. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd just add that, when I read through the, our goals and objectives, our comp plan, and we look through the ag part of it, I tend to agree with George. When I read through it and you look at the negatives and positives, when I look through the goals and objectives and I read through it, I could say yes to them. It's not cut and dried, but I lean more towards yes on them than I do the negative. So I'd agree with George when we look at, is it in harmony with the general purpose and intent? It's not 100%, but I lean more that way, so I'd agree with George.
All right, thank you, Clint. Any other comments from the board? Having none, I'll move on to question number 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Marvin?
Well, I believe they are. They're trying to go ahead and make this work where they can still live in their own house, and they made agreement with probably the purchaser that, hey, we can still operate here and it won't be a problem. So I think they're trying to do this in a reasonable manner.
Okay, thank you, Marvin. Any other comments from the board?
I'd just like to add one, and maybe that can go with question 1, but also 2, is in the future, if this when it, using it reasonable, when we look in the future, if somebody just random would end up buying this house, they know before they buy it that there's a farm right there. So that's why I kind of tend to say yes to question 2, where it's reasonable that way. I mean, yeah, we want to protect the farm and protect house owners and all that, but if somebody else is going to buy that house someday other than the person operating the farm next to it, if they don't like it, they should have never bought it. So that's how I see it. So I would say yes.
All right, thanks, Clint. Moving on to question number 3. Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? I'll take that. If we are to issue the variance maintaining the essential character, it is a farm. There's 2 houses on the farm now. Really isn't going to change anything as far as how things look. It's agricultural, it's a farm. They're both sit on the same driveway going up to the farm. Doesn't change anything there. It does create kind of a quagmire for whoever runs the farm and whoever lives in the house and whoever uses that in the future. But essential character, still going to look like the farm from passerbys. Any other comments from the board? If not, I'll move on to question 4. Is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? George, will you take that?
Well, I guess I struggled with this one too, along with when Clint talked about it earlier here during testimony this evening. The home's been part of this farming operation for 36 years, and somewhere in here, the applicant stated that undisclosed circumstances forced the applicant to selling the farm operation. So obviously, they probably weren't ready to get out of farming, but whatever it was that forced them to, they're having to do it, and I guess they want to continue living in their existing home on the farm. And I don't know if that's a practical difficulty, but that's what I put together out of this application.
All right, thank you, George. Comments from other board members?
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
I don't know if it's a practical difficulty or not either, but the only thing that I can think of is if you don't farm, you don't understand how important it is not to leave. Okay? This is totally different than any other application we look at, from a lake home to a storage facility to, it's, people live places, but this is livelihood, okay? And when it doesn't become financial anymore, it's still livelihood. It's hard to convey that or bring that forward, so I think being forced to kind of get rid of the farm or whatever to live there, and then we're in a dynamic situation here. We don't have anything in stone. Well, we do have it in stone because it don't meet setbacks and all them things we have in our ordinance, so I'm not saying that, but I don't know how you put that on practical difficulty, but that's how I feel about it. So I'd probably say yes to 4.
All right, thank you, Clint. Any other comments from the board? Question number 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Clint?
I'm going to go back to what I just said, and kind of what George said for the practical difficulty. Yes, it involves them, but and other stuff, but it also involves other things other than that. It's hard to convey that unless you know that. Yes, they want to keep their home, okay? So it's created by them, but it's created by the farm having to be gone for unknown circumstances or variables. It's just totally different. So I would have to say yes to question 5.
All right, any other comments from board members?
Mr. Chairman.
George?
So I guess what I'll add to Clint's, and I probably differ with the answer on Clint's a little bit, and I agree with part of it. The circumstances beyond their control, but also, there is another option here, and that, I think Marv talked about that, a life estate. So there is another option on this, that a life estate could be created, so that really conflicts with the question here, because there is an option. And a variance is supposed to be created when there's no other options. So that's where I'm at on it. I'm on the fence on it. I don't know where I'm going to go with it, but I'm just putting that statement out there for thought.
Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, George. Greg?
Practical or hardship here is, they're selling the business. It's kind of hard to sell the house and the business at once. It's got to be hard when you've been milking cows and then you're selling the business and now you're forced to sell your house at the same time. It's got to be hard when you're doing both. That's it. Yes.
All right, and just to add my input here on number 5, the question is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner, prior landowners. This is somebody that's selling the farm and the business, but their home happens to be within, setbacks there. This is created by rules and regulations and things that have changed over time. At one time, it's 1,100 feet. Now it's 660, and moving residents away. It's been brought up at different times to address, because we know that we're going to see family farms that sell maybe to corporate, or they sell to another member or outside of. And when they do, we run into this situation. And here's a situation where the need for the variance is kind of created by all of those other things that are out there. And maybe it shouldn't be the ordinance that dictates what it is, but it kind of is in this particular instance here. And I'll just leave it at that. Question number 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Greg?
Practical. It does a little bit more than economics. It's a little bit emotional too, I guess you gotta put in there. Because I'm sure it's a detachment. It's hard to walk away from it, but I think it's more than economics right now.
All right, other comments from board members?
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Clint.
I don't know if the economics is even involved in it at all. You could probably argue a little bit. It's not like they're trying to save money or make more money. They're just trying to live. They're not trying to save money or spend any more. So I'd say yes, there's a lot more involved other than just the economics of it.
I'll just comment on that too. I mean, if this was a clean sale, maybe the entire farm would be sold to somebody and it would include the house and the home and people would move on. And this isn't the case here. This is a case where the farm is being parsed out for other folks to run and manage, and they could probably sell it for more if the home was included with it. So economics is part of it, but it's not the whole of it. Any other comments by board members? Having none, we'll move on to the vote. Back to question number 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comp Plan? Greg?
I want to say yes, because we're trying to save ag land, so we're trying to keep houses away from tillable ground, so my thing is yes.
All right, any other comments from board members?
We're voting.
Want them all to vote.
We're voting.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Greg is yes. Marvin?
No.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
And Clint?
Yes.
All right. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
And Greg?
Yes.
Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? George?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, Clint.
I'll have to say yes.
And Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
No.
And myself is yes. Is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
No.
Myself is yes. Question number 6.
Not me.
Or, I'm sorry, George?
No.
Marvin was no. You were no. Okay. Does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
And Clint?
Yes.
All right, so we have all of the questions answered in the affirmative majority.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve this variance.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second, and this is a roll call vote. So we'll start at the end with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin?
Even though I voted the other way, I support the other board members, so I vote aye.
Clint?
Aye.
Myself is aye. George?
Aye.
With that, the motion to approve passes. Your variance has been granted.
Thank you.
I forgot about the mic. I forgot about the mic picking up my playing.
That's all I could hear.
I got a different pen now.
You know what I mean?
I wonder where we drink.
All right, one more. Yes.
For sure. All right. Last but not least, come on forward. Gary and Sharon Justin, 8756 215th Street, Randall, Minnesota, 56475. Application for a variance to exceed the allowable dwellings on a parcel located in northeast quarter, section 17, township 130, range 30, Darling Township. And since you're at the front table there, if you'll just state your names for the records and your address so we know who we're speaking and who's representing tonight.
Gary Justin, 8756 215th Street in Randall.
All right, thank you.
Brian Justin, 8898 215th Street, Randall.
All right, thank you. And Amy, do you have a staff report ready to go?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Again, this is a variance request to exceed the maximum number of dwellings on a farmstead. The ordinance sections that apply is 305.6 and 604.13. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue and yellow. And then here is another drawing just showing the dwellings that are kind of being talked about today. And then here is the proposed property combination along with barn placement. So this property has a registered Tier 2 beef dairy feedlot and is comprised of 2 parcels. There are 2 occupied dwellings on the 145-acre parcel and 1 vacant dwelling on the 15-acre parcel. The applicant proposes constructing a new barn that would straddle the property line. Since that is not allowed, the parcels must be combined. However, a parcel combination in this instance would result in 3 dwellings on a single parcel. As the general rule, section 305.6 limits the number of dwellings per parcel to 1. In cases of a farm, ordinance section 604.13 allows up to 2 dwellings on one farmstead if it meets certain criteria. The applicant requests a variance to have 3 dwellings on the single parcel and farmstead. And then here are your criteria. Questions, Mr. Chair?
All right, thank you, Amy. And back to the applicants, is what she presented here accurate? And do you have further information you'd like to provide to the board tonight?
Yeah, it's accurate.
Okay.
Just like to keep it as one farm, like it pretty much is anyway with the feedlot, so.
Okay. Any additional information or?
I mean, just the building site down there, you wanna talk about that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's part of the feedlot, but that house, is gonna be part of the farm, like the other ones, it's gonna be for one of my kids or hired help and that's why we wanna keep that 3rd dwelling in that option.
Okay, thank you. I'll bring it back to the board for comments, questions, concerns for the board.
Mr. Chairman.
George.
So I know we talked a little bit about there, you're combining those 2 parcels, correct?
That's what we'd like to do.
Okay, so is that gonna be a problem, or should be pretty smooth? It's a Torrens, right? Is it a Torrens?
It's a Torrens property.
Okay, so you think that shouldn't be a problem, huh?
It's not a problem at all.
Okay,
Easy fix.
okay.
Talk to the
Okay.
lawyer.
Talk to a lawyer, easy.
Yeah, well, talk to a lawyer and a pocket full of cash. Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else from the board?
Mr. Chair,
Clint, go ahead.
So this one here is complete opposite of what we just did. Okay? Now I'm gonna say something personal and then I'm gonna get down to the ordinance. Personally, I like this one a lot better. Now we gotta get through this here and go through the questions and have to answer them too, just like the last one. Okay, so when I look at this one, here we got a farmstead that's been in the family for 100 years? Not quite.
106,
Okay,
108.
but long time. Okay, these houses always been there. It's petitioned off. We ain't gonna get into it, but I'd argue that it don't meet setbacks to anything already. Where there's animals housed and all that, so we wanna clean it up somehow, right? To me, this is the best way to clean it up. Farms are getting bigger, you need more places for to live. It's been there forever, we ain't changing anything, we're changing how we combine it. Yes, we're gonna allow 3 on a parcel, we only allow 2, I totally get that, okay? Totally get that. We allow 3 dwellings on 40, okay? We went down to 1 acre for ag and allow 3 of them on a 40. So that's no different than anything else we do other than in the same parcel, okay? So I get that, so that's what we're looking at, okay? So when I look through some of these questions and how I'm gonna answer some of these, that's what I'm looking at, how different out of the ordinary that happens every day. It might go a little bit against ordinance here, or totally against ordinance, or maybe it aligns with it. But just from a perspective of this, here's something that's been there forever. How do you change it? I'd argue that, like I said before, that 3rd dwelling doesn't meet setbacks to half of the feedlot operation that's going on there already, right? You combine it, it's gonna be part of it. I will say, though, that me personally, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but it was a lot harder to take that away than put it on. If this does get put together, it'd be a lot harder to take it off again in the future, being that there's a variance there to keep it, okay? So, and that's how I look at it. It protects that. I don't know. It's a little bit easier for me to grasp, but I still got to answer all these questions. So we'll see how that shakes out when we get through all this. So I'll just yield to other board members at this time.
All right, other board members.
Mr. Chair.
Marvin.
I did get a chance to visit that one about 8 o'clock yesterday, visited with Brian and Gary over the situation, and then drove around there and looked at it. And, you know, yeah, it's kind of unique that we had one quite similar, but as the way they're operating right now and just putting it together, and I mean, even though a nonconformity is already there, but on paper it is. So it's really kind of a very unique situation. But, you know, nothing's changing other than moving them together like that.
Mr. Chair, just one more thing I want
Go
to
ahead,
add,
Clint.
just because this for the record. A lot of these things, this is a newer one for us. And some people might say that this is setting precedents for the future. I disagree with that because this has all been here. It's been in one family, it's been there forever. It's not like a farm's trying to buy a 3rd home down the road and put it in with their farm, okay? So that's why I just wanted to, for the record, when I'm looking at this, I'm not looking at setting a precedence that we're gonna allow all these farms to have 3 dwellings. Here's something that's been there forever. We're looking at this totally separate. It's not like buying a house across the road and putting it into the farm. So when I'm looking at it, that's how I'm looking at it. So I just wanted that for the record.
All right, thank you, Clint. I think along those lines, my question was just that. Are we setting a precedence moving forward? How many of these larger farms actually have more than 2 dwellings, you know, as a part of the farm already that maybe meet the setbacks, but are already existing out there? And I've got a question maybe for Amy on this. If we are to grant this variance, because we're looking at removing or removing the parcel lines and actually incorporating it into more of the farm. So we're increasing the ag land there. And then, but we have to create a variance for the continuance of a third home. Does that home have to stay there, or can that home be on the opposite 45 years from now?
Well, if you are granting, so a variance runs with the land, and they would not be using essentially their replacement right at that point. It's not a setback issue. It's just, can we have 3 dwellings on this piece of property? I would say, depending on how narrowly you want to look at that and whether you want to provide any sort of conditions on that, you certainly could specify that it would be for the home, at least this particular home would need to stay in that particular location. But aside from that, if the property's been granted the ability to have 3 dwellings, then that's what it gets.
So that would be to the entire acreage is granted the 3 buildings, so technically.
That's correct.
If
So
this-
even if this farm hung up operation, that would still be a right that is given to this property.
Okay, so if this existing home, which is the old farmstead, were to be not utilized 5 years from now, because it is 80, 90 years old, I'm assuming, based on what I saw.
My understanding, it's not occupied now, is it?
Not right now.
It's not
The old house.
occupied now, no.
No.
But if that were to go away, the variance would then, unless there's some condition on it, allow them to put, they wouldn't have to build in the same spot. They could build elsewhere on the acreage as long as they met setbacks.
Correct.
Okay.
The new home, if it wasn't there, would have to meet setbacks from the feedlot then.
No, because you're asking for a 3rd feedlot dwelling.
Okay, so it wouldn't have to.
If it stayed right there.
If it didn't stay there, it wouldn't have to meet any setbacks.
Well, you'd have to meet setback from the road and all that, but your feedlot, it would be regarded as a feedlot residence, so it doesn't need to meet setback from the nearest animal holding areas.
My question then on that same line of thought would be back to the applicants next, would you be opposed to a condition? Because we really don't want to create more of a cluster, to condition it that if there were to be a new home in the future, that it would go on the site of the existing.
It wouldn't have to be the exact footprint, but it could be just in that, that house would be tore down and put right there, right?
Yeah,
It wouldn't have to be a replica of the house, but I think what he's
No,
saying
not
is the
like a
general
right to
area
rebuild
is
in
that
the exact-
you're using the same site,
The same location.
the same site.
Or any one of those 3 houses could be tore down, right?
Well, I only picked the old
Yeah,
farmstead because it's likely
right.
the one that you would replace, because the others are pretty new structures.
Yep.
No, I wouldn't be objected to that. That would be fine with me. But I'm not gonna be here. How do you know?
Well, you're hoping it's gonna last a long time then.
Well, I am.
So, Mr. Chair, if I will.
Clint, go
So the
ahead.
reason we're saying that is because we just granted 3, if we grant 3 to it, you could put it way to the north up in the woods. 20 years from now, you could put that house, and then you could go and petition that off and sell that.
Yep.
Okay, now that does nothing for the farm. We're trying to do this for the ag part of it. We're not trying to do it to allow extra houses. Okay, so that's why I think Brent's motion was to build it in the same site. Okay, I understand the dimensions could be bigger, smaller. It might be 10 feet over. We're not looking, it has to be the exact, but we just don't want it getting moved out somewhere else and just cause more problems in the future. because we're doing it for the ag land, okay? Not necessarily for the house, okay? So that's why.
So would, is that house that's there, does that meet the setback from the road?
Well, it'd have to meet setbacks from that. We're not gonna, yeah.
So what are the setbacks from the road now?
40 feet from the road right of way.
40 feet.
Yeah, you're fine.
No problem.
Yeah, so Amy, just along those same lines now, so looking at a condition, if we were to put a condition that if the variance to exceed the allowable dwellings to 3 instead of 2, with a condition that says it would have to apply to all 3 homes, or just to
No,
the
we
one
could-
home, or
we
would
could
we narrow it down to that?
Yeah, I would say we could specify it just because essentially what they're trying to do is bring this third home onto the scene. And by combining the parcels, so it could be specific to that particular home, that if that home is ever replaced, it must be in the same general site.
But what if it were to be one of the other 2 homes? So that's what I'm getting at, is if we're making the condition, and we want that general farm to remain what it is now, you almost have to condition it on the 3, that the 3 stay where they are, because if we limit it to this one, then the other 2 could be moved anywhere else.
What if
They could.
the one burnt down, or, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you have a right to rebuild it and put it back in the same,
In the same spot.
yeah. And likely you probably would, but I don't know.
Right.
All 3 where they are. I'd be good
Yeah,
with that.
I would be
I'd want that.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Amy.
I believe at least when we were chatting, the rationale for keeping this is because it had a septic system and kind of it was all set up, so it really seemed like it was, because it was in that location and you had everything to support that house right there. If you moved it somewhere else, you'd have to do all that. That was my understanding of the rationale for wanting to have it, even though it's not being occupied, you have the septic system and the well right there, so it would keep it in that same location, if that's the rationale why you want to keep it.
I wouldn't see any other reason to move it.
No. I wanted to move.
Okay.
All them houses right there. That's fine.
So, Mr. Chair?
Clint, go
I'll
ahead.
just change that, or add to the condition that it'd be for all 3 homes in, I don't know how you'd word it, similar location or
Within the farm.
within the
Farmstead.
realistic area of each home. I don't know how you'd word that, but so that it's kind of that I mean, like I said, if it's 5 feet over or 2 feet, nobody's gonna complain. We just, I don't know how you
So,
word that though.
How about
Logistical footprint.
each home must be replaced on the same general site or footprint?
General footprint.
Okay.
Okay,
Same general location.
Yeah.
all right, other comments, questions, concerns of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Marvin?
as I was chatting with them, and obviously you can see part of the reason they wanted to combine it is if they wanted to place another barn or another shed or whatever like that, that 200-foot setback, they can't meet it, and that's their reasoning for doing it and asking for this here. So I mean, that is basically the main reason for this here in cleaning it up.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the board? If not, I'll move on to the public portion of the meeting. Hearing none, I'll open this up to the public portion of the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak, go to the podium and state your name and address for the record and make a call 3 times, once. A second call, and a third call. Hearing none. Is there a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
Motion by George, second by Marvin, and a roll call vote. Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, aye.
Myself is aye. George?
Aye.
Public portion of the meeting is closed. Back to the board. Any further thoughts, questions, concerns of the board? If not, we'll move on to discuss the findings of fact, criteria questions. Hearing none, we'll move on to the finding of fact criteria questions. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comp Plan? Clint?
I believe so. It differs from it just a little bit, but I think when we look at it, we allow 3 per 40, 1 acre lots. Here, there's something that's been in effect for basically 106 years. Yes, some of the other houses are a little bit newer than that, but they're all put on there. We got an expanding farm. This is the cleanest way to do it. When I look through, again, applicable comprehensive land use goals and objective, and we look through, I think I can say, read through all them and say yes, that this here is gonna follow along with that somewhat. So I would say yes, with their condition, I feel a lot more comfortable with that, making sure that the homes stay where they are in a general area instead of just getting put out and causing problems later on down the road as far as when we look at our ordinance and the comp plan. So I'd say yes to question 1.
All right, thank you, Clint. Any other board members? If not, I'll move on to question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Greg?
I feel they're using it in a reasonable way. I mean, it's on the farmstead already, so I would say yes, it's in a reasonable manner.
All right, other comments from board members? If not, I'll move on to question 3. Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Marvin?
Absolutely. Nothing will change other than property line will disappear there.
All right, any other comments from the board? If not, I'll move on to question 4. Is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? I'll take that one. And this is obviously this is a unique property. They have a need to continue doing agriculture. They need to expand and build to keep doing what they're doing. But they can't do that with the footprint the way it is, so they're moving and combining a parcel and adding that on to the farm. So it's, I think that's the practical difficulty. The practical difficulty is the need to expand. And so they have to remove a line, but by removing the line, that creates the practical difficulty because there's a home existing that's been there for 100 years. And so I see that as the practical difficulty, and that is unique to this property. The only way they can do that is to get a variance for a third dwelling on a Tier 2 feedlot. Any other comments from the board? If not, I'll move on to question 5. Is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or the prior landowners? George?
Yes, I believe so. The need for the variance was created over several generations of expanding farm operations, and the needs for today's farming operations versus the needs of the past those needs are not the same from the past as they are today. Hence, the need for a variance to maintain an existing structure once the parcels are combined.
All right, thank you, George. Any other comments from the board? If not, question number 6. Does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes, nothing's really gonna change but the lines. We're actually gonna clean it up so that we don't have to worry about setbacks as much. Here, one thing to note that didn't come up here earlier is it's the only dairy farm in the Bermuda Triangle, I call it, from 115 to 371 to Highway 10. Very difficult land to farm and make a living on in dairy operation. This family's doing it. They're just trying to maintain their farm and keep going with the only dairy farm left in that 5 mile square or whatever that is. So.
All right, any other comments from the board? If not, we'll move on to the vote on the findings of fact questions. Back to question number 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comp Plan? Clint?
I'll say yes with our condition.
All right. And Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes, with the conditions.
All right. Question number 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
And Clint?
Yes, with the condition.
And question number 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
And Greg?
Yes.
Question number 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And Marvin?
Yes.
Is the need, question number 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? George? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. And question number 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself is yes. George?
Yes.
All right, we have all of the questions answered in the affirmative. Is there a motion to approve this with the one condition?
I'll make that motion with this one condition.
All right, we've got a motion by Greg, a second by,
I'll second it.
seconded by Clint. And with a motion and a second, I'll take a roll call vote, starting with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
Myself is aye, and George.
Aye.
Motion to approve passes, and your variance has been granted with that one condition. So moving forward, work with Land Services and Amy during business hours on your next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, any old business?
Mr. Chair, I do not have any old business today.
All right, any new business?
The only thing that I wanted to, and it pertains to Planning Commission and to Board of Adjustment, is I think I'm gonna change the voting sheet because we're now always motioning, or the board chair is always asking for a motion to approve. To make that cleaner, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a voting box down below. So we're gonna say who made the motion. And so we're not selecting approve or deny, we're just capturing, we're assuming you're always gonna make the motion to approve, and then we're capturing what that vote was and whether it passed or not. I do that with the county board as well, but I wanna change that, so next time, your voting sheet's gonna maybe look a little bit different. But I'll send it out to you via email, just so you see it beforehand. But just wanted you to know I'm gonna make that change.
Okay.
It should just simplify it and make it clearer, so. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have minutes and a motion to approve any minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion and a second by Marvin. All in favor, starting with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
Myself, aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes is passed. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
By George. All in favor, starting with Greg.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Clint.
Aye.
Myself is aye. George.
Aye.